Why is our culture so against men? Why are they so against someone doing what they say and saying what they're going to do? No matter if you love it or hate it, you have to respect it. Today we're going to talk about 3 polarizing figures, and I don't want you to think that I'm just saying I'm supporting everything they talk about, but what I am supporting is they are standing up for what they believe in. Now that is also a call for us to say, what do we believe in and how can we change our families and how can we do better as men? I personally want to be a strong Christian leader. I want to be a strong man for my family. I want to be a strong husband, a strong family man, a strong father, a strong community leader. How does that impact other people? What's more than we think and more than we know? Let's jump into these 3 men who have impacted our culture, and not only impacted our culture for bad or good, but they believe in what they say. And I think more men should look at this and say, what are parts of this that I can learn from to be better leaders? Let's jump into it. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up for this video if you like this content. If you don't like this content, that's okay, give us a thumbs down. But by sharing your thoughts and your comments below it, it does help us as a community to learn from each other. Now, the point of the video today is more of a rant. I get so agitated by the thought of people just not wanting true leadership or having men say what they believe. We are in a world of politicians where everybody says one thing and actually does something different because they kowtow to whatever pressure that they're feeling for the day. Let's jump into why I believe that men are weak, but also these 3 men and some examples of what they're going through. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better father. I want to be a better Christian leader. I want to serve people. I want people to see in around me what a man is supposed to be. Also, as a man, I want to be successful in whatever I do. If it's trying to lose weight, or if it's trying to raise this farm, or if it's trying to grow food, that's what I believe that we are missing in our culture. We degrade men as, they're not that important anymore. To me, if we develop strong men again, I believe we would see stronger militaries. I believe we would see a stronger home life. We would see stronger kids, and we would see a stronger nation because our home life would be better, which would make people have more convictions, more morals, more values, which would ultimately benefit America and even the world. Think of the impact that we can have if men were just men and didn't just kowtow. Think how good our leadership would be if they just didn't bend to pressure, if they actually stuck to what they said. So every day I want to strive for that. And I believe as young men, as anyone that's growing up, we're missing that in our culture. We don't see what a real man is. And so that's why I want to talk about these 3 men. And really the reason I want to talk about it is because every one of them had big stories this week and shows people really don't like them, but they stood on what they believe. Love him or hate him, the former president. This man just got indicted for the 2nd time. He's been impeached twice, and no one likes him when it comes to politics, even his own side. Sadly, he has no support from the political class. Now, to me, that would probably be a positive. But what I am saying is all the people that surrounded him to quote-unquote support him for the last 2 times he's ran for president, the one that actually was successful and also the one he lost, they've all started turning against him. All his leadership cabinet are now bending to pressure and standing against him. Of course, the other side is too. So before we actually dive into it a little bit more, think about where he was. This man was an ultra billionaire, living his life, doing whatever he wanted to do, supported by everybody. He was a loved guy before all this, known for, you're fired. So why do we all of a sudden hate this guy? It's because he literally says, this is what I believe and this is what I'm gonna do. Now, did he follow through with everything he said? No. But to be honest with you, I think he was a little overwhelmed that he had no support. So I'll go back to leadership and men. Did he put the right people around him? Probably not. Did he trust some people he shouldn't have trusted? Probably so. No matter if you love him or hate him, he is standing on what he says. Does that mean he's doing everything right? No. He has tons of flaws. But that even makes him, to me, a better man, because ultimately none of us are perfect. And when we personify that our perfection is real, like a lot of politicians do, they want to kiss the babies and act like they've got everything going right. To me, that makes me even not trust them even more. I wish everybody running for president on both sides would stand on what they believe in and not kowtow, not change it, and say the quiet parts out loud. Vivek Ramaswamy is doing that. I think he's doing a great job. All the rest of the Republicans, they're just chatterboxes for the political pressure. Just being honest. So number two, another man that I want to discuss, because he was in the news this week because he was on the PBD podcast with Patrick Bet-David, which I think is a phenomenal podcaster, by the way. But it was Andrew Tate. Now, he is one of the most loved and hated men on social media. It blows my mind. Now, do I believe in his entrepreneurial class and especially his morals and values? They're a little sketch for me. But here's what again, just like Trump, what I think it's so amazing, no matter what he says, right or wrong, he stands on it, he believes in it, and he sticks to it. Now, as a man, my moral and values would not say Trump or Tate is going to lead my Bible study or I'm going to look up to them as a role model. I'm not, because for me, again, as a Christian man, both of those are missing a lot of things, especially what I look at spiritually. But one thing I do respect of them is that they're going to say it, they're going to believe in it, and they're going to face the persecution even when the pressure comes. Both of these men are under heavy persecution from governments. Now, if they did something wrong, they need to serve for it. But there's so many other examples of politicians and social influencers who have done probably way worse than these two guys. The difference is these guys are not bowing down to the pressure. They're not bowing down to, one says the deep state or one says the matrix. But the bottom line is both of these men are standing on what they believe in. Actually, that's what I think I respect the most about them. I voted for Trump. But to be honest with you, I respect him more now because he's willing to go through it, and no matter what persecution goes on him, he's just pushing through. Tate, who again, if you watch the PBD interview, he had some great points, but again, because of his foul mouth and because some of the other beliefs he has, I don't necessarily like the guy. But some of the things he says makes complete sense. So I'll go back to the first point. Young men shouldn't look to these guys to say they're the perfect role models. But they should see motivation from that. And that's why you as a father, or you as a leader, you as a person who could lead young men, need to be the ones to say, learn from different avenues where they stood strong, but this is what a real man is. So that's two examples of men who are loved by the populace, but hated by the upper elites or by so many. They are polarizing figures. But again, why are they polarized figures? It's because they're standing up to the pressure and they're willing to go through the fires that they have made. Respectively, they probably put themselves in it, but they believe in what they say and they're standing on it. So I got to respect that to a certain extent. And I wish more men, especially politicians and especially leaders, would be willing to say, this is what I want to do and I'm willing to stand on it. That is brave. Number three, I want to talk about a person who is almost like a two-parter. So we see Twitter now that's opened up. Elon Musk opened it up so people can have public dialogue without really any censorship, which I think is a phenomenal thing. And Elon Musk is not on this list, but I do think he is doing phenomenal things when it comes to free speech. But the third guy I want to talk about is someone who actually came to that platform, which is Tucker Carlson. Now, he tried to speak truth at one place and that didn't work out. We understand that, we saw that, and now we see that, again, that network is falling to pressure, falling to some of their supporters and also some of their financial institutions. So they're literally just kowtowing to the pressure. I think it's amazing that Tucker came out and as bold as possible through 3 episodes have gotten hundreds of millions of views on Twitter, and he's just saying the truth, just speaking truth. Again, you may not like the guy, but at least he's there saying what a lot of people are feeling in America. And now he'll see persecution from his old network. He'll see the pundits and he'll see the bigger political elite jump on him and try to hush him up or disrespect him in some way. He'll feel the same persecution as the first two that we talked about. Now all these guys are uber millionaires and billionaires. They don't need to talk. They don't need social media. They don't need to work another day in their life. They could walk away, buy an island, and never be seen again and live happily ever after with their families. A lot of the people that don't like them, if they did that, they would just leave them alone. Remember, all these figures were well liked and well respected until they did not bend to the pressure. Now that they won't bend to the pressure, that's when people don't like them, or that's when maybe the media or maybe the upper elites don't like them. The powers, the political class. However, populists are loving these 3 guys. Look at the Tate interview. He's got some of the I mean, he could put out anything on social media and it's got million hits. Tucker Carlson, million of hits. Donald Trump, man, this guy's supported everywhere. Love him or hate him, there's people on polarized sides on all three of these men. Now let's bring that back to ourselves. As a man, that's what we should be looking for. Not spiritual leadership from these guys, but the fact that they're willing to stand on their convictions. Now, as a Christian man, I want our convictions to be, again, spiritually minded, based on Christ. One thing I want to learn, though, from these guys is that they're not willing to bend to pressure. There is no other men, hardly, on the national stage that's doing this thing. One standing up to wars that we shouldn't have. No one in the political class willing to say, we can't keep going in this debt, and I'm willing to stand up against it. Or excuse me, they'll say that kind of stuff, but they won't vote for it. I think of the Republicans in Congress. Here we go, we have a terrible bill that McCarthy just put out. McCarthy, he is going to bend to pressure every time. McConnell, bend to pressure every time. Both of those guys should easily be pushed out of leadership by true conservatives. But because a lot of those conservatives, the true leaders in the Conservative Party, they don't have any power because there's only just a handful of them. So all these other political, quote-unquote, leaders are not going to push that pressure on their leadership. They're not going to take that pressure. They just want to play between the 40s. They don't want the touchdowns. They don't want to see success. They don't want to feel the pressure that some of these other guys are feeling. So they'll speak words and they'll say stuff like, oh, we shouldn't vote on the debt ceiling, but we had to because it just passed. Or we don't have enough support, so I guess we're just going to let it pass. McCarthy didn't stand on morals and values, but hey, he's our leader. McConnell, blah, 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 blah. It's always just farce. It's all political garbage. And we have no leadership. Social media influencers. Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared to say the truth. Just why are we so scared to just stand up for what we believe? We're not perfect. I am not perfect. I am a failed human being. But I want to lead my family and lead my children and lead my sons in understanding what it means to be a man. I want to lead my daughters to understand what it means to be good to their mama and buy her flowers and take her on dates so they can see I respect her and I love her and that they should have the same thing as they get older. I believe we need more men to raise their families so that therefore they don't have to look up to these other three polarizing figures. These guys have some great things to learn from, but ultimately, who should people look up to? They should be looking up to their father, and they should be leading their homes correctly, and they should be looking up spiritually to their Heavenly Father. And if people could have that and do that, I believe we would see a stronger world for sure, and less weak men and less problems like the ones we're dealing with right now. Ending, we don't even know what a man is anymore. We have men wanting to be women, women wanting to be men. It shows there's no difference. That's what they want you to believe. It's no difference. The reason there's no difference is because men quit being leaders. When men become leaders again, you're going to see a movement, and it will be a tough few years. Strong leaders will go through the fire, kind of like these three are going through. But when people get fed up enough, you will see strong men make for better, prosperous times. So I challenge you, if you're watching this, if you're a man, first of all, be a man. Love your family, love your wife, respect them, serve them, and make sure you are taking care of them. If you're a woman, make sure your man's doing that. If you're a father, you better be the best father you can be. You're not perfect, but you better be the role model that your sons need. You better be the father of the daughters when they're going through all the crap they go through, because so many people are wrapped up in their social media and their phones that women are not respected. Little boys don't know how to learn how to be men. That's where their father comes in. And then ultimately, unlike some of the ones we've talked about, you have to lead your family in a spiritual way. Now, as a Christian, again, I believe morals and values is key. I believe the way we raise our children is all about being good stewards of what God has given us. God has given us our children. So it's a new day. You see the sun is coming up. I just got done with my workout and actually have fed all the animals for the farm. It's a beautiful day. I want to be the best leader I can be for my family today, because every day is a new day, and every day I should be getting better as a father, better as a husband, better as a Christian leader or a community leader or someone who's talking on YouTube. My goal is to get better each and every day, because when we see better men, we'll see better leaders. We'll see better homes. We'll see better families. We'll see better communities. And when we see better communities, we will see better overall for America. So that's it. That's my rant for the day. I think the reason these three men are hated is because they're standing on their own convictions. No matter if you love them for it or you hate them or you disagree with some of that, at least they're standing on something. Unlike a lot of other men in our culture and a lot of other politicians especially, they're weak. So I challenge you, be a strong leader today. Be a strong man. Ladies, get on to your husbands. Make them be strong men too. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless.